Going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber. As always, welcome back and hit the thumbs up on your way out. Guys, check it out. You know I got the Memphis gear on. Shout out Memphis, because there's big news out of Memphis. Last night I broke the story that Desmond Mills Jr. took a plea deal in the feds. I was going to do a follow-up video because I knew he was going to court this morning. I didn't get it out in time. So this is the aftermath of what was said. And it's a lot of news that's been uncovered and a lot of stuff we talked about on this channel as far as, you know, somebody turning and which domino would be the first to fall. Mr. Mills is the first domino. Surprisingly, I didn't think it would be him, but it was. But I'm going to tell you something. Today, he went to court, and I'm going to show you the video, the news video, and then I'm going to come back and show you the press conference. Well, snippets of the press conference after where Tyre Nichols' mom spoke. I think is the DA's name is Mulroy, I think. And also the attorney, what's his name? Antonio Romanucci. They said some things that were eye-opening about Desmond Mills Jr. and also this case moving forward. And it gives us a little bit more clarity of what we can expect moving towards the trial date, because these 5 officers go on on Monday, this coming Monday, for their sentencing dates. But let me show you this real quick, this news article, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna chop this thing up. Check it out.
Breaking news right now. One of the former Memphis police officers federally charged in the death of Tyre Nichols is changing his plea. Court documents show Desmond Mills Jr. accepted a deal today, pleading guilty to federal and state charges. Mills previously pled not guilty. Tyre Nichols died in a hospital 3 days after he was beaten during a traffic stop earlier this year.
All right, guys, that's was basically what they said last night, but I wanted to bring some of you guys up to speed that didn't see the other video I did last night. Now, at the time of this recording, none of the news outlets have gave an update because he just got out of court. So I'm going to just give you the scoop real quick so you guys can hear it here first. Before I begin, though, let me say something. I appreciate you guys' comments, and I appreciate you guys being careful and telling me to be careful and stuff like that when I'm doing these videos. But sometimes you need to listen to what I'm saying. Somebody left me a comment last night, and I mean, it didn't upset me or anything like that, and I don't think they meant any harm. But to say what I'm saying on here, I mean, I'm giving an opinion. It's not legal advice. Let's get that straight. I am not a lawyer. I don't know nothing about, you know, being a lawyer. All I know is my experiences and how I went through the judicial system in the feds, which made it helpful for you guys. So please cut me some slack. I'm not giving legal advice, and I don't know why some people sit up here and they say, well, what you're saying can be condemning to the case. It can't be. I'm some dude in Houston in his room that produces videos with an opinionated view like everybody else do. Please be nice. Okay? Seriously. Now let's jump into this. I had to write some of this stuff down so you'll see me looking down. I got my cards and stuff. This is what they're talking about. The I'm gonna just go through little things, and I'm gonna I'm gonna bring in parts of the video to support it, or parts of the video, and then talk about the parts. So just bear with me. First thing that I thought was interesting was the negotiation. Somebody in the press, because they had the press conference with everybody outside. This is what I'm talking about. Said, one of the reporters said, how long has this been in the making? They said 2 weeks. So they've been talking to Desmond Mills and his attorney for 2 weeks. They've been negotiating what's going on. What else I found out was this. The federal prosecution recommendation for him to the judge at the time of his sentencing, which will be sometime down the road, right, will be 180 months, because, you know, the feds don't go by years, they go by a month system in their scaling. 180 months translates out to 15 years. With feds, they take 2 months off a year. A federal year of incarceration is 10 months, not 12. So basically, you would scale that 180 down to 150 months, which is 12 and a half years. Now, with that being said, with the 12 and a half years, what they said, the DA, Mr. Mulroy, I think his name is, and the state prosecutor in Memphis, what they said was they plan to mirror his federal sentence to have it run concurrently. So they're going to wait for this. Another thing is I found out was this. I said he was going to give information, all this stuff. They may not give no more deals because they got just one, and one is all they need. He was there on the scene number 2, the most vicious scene. They have their star witness on scene that was there. Preston Hempfield was at scene 1. Now they got one at scene 2. Do not be surprised if they don't offer any more deals because the feds don't have to. Got a star witness there. This guy right here went in front of the judge, guys, and said everything according to what they wanted to hear. And I'll play what they said he said too. But check it out. What we're going to do now is somebody in the press asked, well, if 15 years in the feds, you think that's enough for what they taking a man's life? And this is what the DA in Memphis said. Check this out and listen closely to what he said. Check it out.
No, I don't, for 3 reasons. The first one is the family itself fully supports this. The second is he is providing substantial cooperation that will assist us in the prosecution of other defendants and in the civil rights pattern and practice investigation, which I want to emphasize. I think that's very important because we need systemic reform out of this tragedy. And then the third reason is that, like I said before, there are different levels of responsibility within the 5 defendants, and I would say that, based on our understanding of the facts as we allege them, he is not the worst of the 5.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was key, what he said. If you've been paying attention to this case and a lot of the stuff that I've been saying with these videos I've been dropping, he said 3 things. First thing was the family is totally on board with it. That's what matters the most. The family is down with it. Second thing he said was they need reform, and he's agreed to talk about what to do and what not to do. And he's a willing participant in the civil rights, I got it written down here, pattern and practice investigation. So he's a front runner of giving information about police brutality and all the other crazy stuff that they was doing out in the street. And the third thing they said was this, and I want you to hear this. He said, out of all of those 5, he's the lesser one of the 5 as far as what was done to Tyre Nichols. I had said something like that last night in a few videos before where I said I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he got the least time out of all of them, because what he did and the situation he came into and how they tried to portray it. I told you, you see what they did? Now, a lot of people say, Steve, what does that mean? This is what it means. You remember when Preston Hempfield, they exonerated him with the situation of the civil lawsuit, and then he came and said, I'll work on the defense, I'll cooperate. Remember? What did they say? What he did wasn't really that bad. The same thing. You see the same pattern they doing? They got their star witness at scene 1, Preston Hempfield, and scene 2, Desmond Mills Jr. That's the game. You see the game? They will get no more deals. I will be shocked that they offer deals. It's the feds. They don't have no deal. Now the state is waiting to see what happens. So now they might push the Tennessee court date back, which they said, we're going to see what we're going to do on Monday. They might push that court date back. It might be the end of 2024. They might push it back until the whole situation is resolved with the feds and they set it themselves. We're waiting to see what the feds going to do with this whole situation. Now, what hasn't been said is, and I heard it through the lines of what they're talking about. Evidently, he pled guilty in the feds. Supposedly, he pled guilty in the state as well. That's why they're like, oh, okay, cool. You can help us with this civil rights thing in Memphis. So that means he pled guilty. He's already going to get his sentence via the feds, and the state is going to match it. So he pled guilty on both things. That is huge. And that's a huge dagger in the defense of the other 4 officers. I thought it was going to be Tredarius Bean or Justin Smith that turned first. Blake Bowling was smart. He told him, yo, if they talk before you, it's over. And that's the games they play. It sounds messed up. I don't like this dude. I don't care for this guy. But I will tell you this. Taking that lawyer's advice was the smartest thing he did. And I'm going to tell you why. With him doing that now, he already knows his fate. The first person that ever takes a deal gets the sweetest deal, and everybody falls in line after that because they had a chance to come forward but didn't. They are rolling over in their graves right now because now you got a scene 1 cop, Hempfield, scene 2 cop, both of them going against you. Also, they said there are different degrees of responsibility that played a role in the death of Tyre Nichols, meaning all their times are going to be different. They're going to get different amounts of time. Emmett Martin is finished. It's finished. Because they talk about, oh, will everybody get deals? No, everybody won't get deals. If everybody gets deals, you understand what I'm saying? A deal is when they strike a deal, when they want you to be important to them in the conviction of somebody else. How is it important if everybody got deals? It makes no sense. I would not be surprised or shocked in the least if nobody else gets deals, because now they got Desmond Mills and they got Preston Hempfield. Another thing, like they said, he's giving information on the others. He's not, the worst of the 5 officers. He's helping with this police reform stuff. It's like they're painting it like, oh, he's trying to do right and all of this other stuff. And they plan to mirror his sentence. So they said it's 15 years. Now, they also said the judge said to him face to face, I'm the one that decides if they go with what the prosecutor says, or I can give you more time, or I can give you less time. Do you understand that fully? Because what happens is when you go in there and you have a plea deal, what they do is they make you stand up there and they make you talk. In a public venue in court, they ask you questions like this. Do you understand the agreement that you're signing a plea to? And you say, yeah. And they'll say, do you understand? I'm trying to figure out. Do you understand everything you read? Yeah. Do you know you're pleading guilty? Yeah. Do you know that just because they recommended something don't mean that you're going to get that? Yes. And then after that, they'll have you talk. What are you pleading guilty to? What did you do? And this is what he said, but I'm not going to tell you. I want you to hear it from one of the people that were in there. Ben Crump has the other attorney with him, the Italian guy, Antonio Romanucci. He spoke for about a minute and a half, and he described what happened in the courtroom with Desmond Mills Jr. I don't want to quote it. I want you to see it. Check it out.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Antonio Romanucci. And despite the calm demeanor and reserved tone that we saw in the courtroom today, I will tell you that what we witnessed was the most dramatic moment possible in American policing today. Today, you are seeing the tide turn. This is a monumental shift in policing today, watching another police officer who will testify against his own based upon a policy that was in existence. Now we know what we always knew. When we filed this lawsuit in April of this year, our well-pled allegations, you will now see, are consistent with what was said in the courtroom. We said that there was a policy in place to do what they were doing. And indeed, you heard that one of the allegations was that they would never, ever admit to unlawful use of force as part of the Scorpion unit. And indeed, part of count 3 is that they covered it up. That's what we alleged. That's what we're saying. And now we have admissions. Desmond Mills, in his own words, when His Honor said to him, "What did you do?" "I used unreasonable force, and I lied. I made misrepresentations about it." This is what this case is about. And now police officers, police sergeants, police chiefs are on notice, not only here, not only Cyril and Davis, but across the country, that they must not only have policies in place that do no harm, but they must enforce them and hold officers accountable in order for our policing system to continue to work in this country.
As you heard it from the horse's mouth, well, not the horse's mouth, but somebody that was there when the horse spoke. Desmond Mills got in front of the people and he said he pled guilty. Now, if you listen closely, he pled guilty, and I think part of the deal was they took 2 of the 4 counts away. Meaning, but they kept instead of 4 counts of civil rights violations, they kept 2 of them. They kept count 1 and count 3. And the reason why, and that was part of his deal, they took 2 of them away. Count 1 was basically they used excessive force and they beat Tyre Nichols really bad. He admitted to the admission of guilt that they went over the top in plain English and just, it caused his untimely demise. Count 3 was basically they failed to tell the truth on the scene of what they did to him, and they tried to cover it up. Desmond Mills Jr. himself admitted that. So basically what they did, count 2, where they failed to render aid and all of that stuff, and they was insensitive when he was on the ground, and count 4, they tried to suppress and lie on the paperwork. They took both of those away. But count 3 is the same as count 4. That's why they pulled that. And the non-rendering aid doesn't matter because count 1 he pled guilty to of being the one that did it anyway. You see what I'm saying? So that right there clears that up. Now, this whole thing is key that he did this because he went through the scales of justice real quick. He jumped on there, got weighed, pled guilty, jumped in and jumped out. Now the defense of them trying to scramble and backpedal and all of that stuff and say who did this and who did that, it's messed up because now they got somebody that was there and can say, hey, they can look at the camera, he can dissect everything. What were they saying? It's not, there will be no more deals. They got everything they need, which they did before Desmond Mills, but this is just an extra nail in the coffin to make sure these guys don't walk. They're going to face serious time. Serious time. Now, regardless of what you think about the guy, Desmond Mills, turning on them and getting less of time, we can't control that, guys. If it was up to me, they'd all get the same amount of time. But I mean, the family's cool with it. It doesn't matter what we think. As long as they feel as though they get justice for Tyre Nichols, and that's all that matters, who are we to say something? They the ones experiencing the pain and the misery and the loss of Tyre Nichols. You know what I'm saying? Now, in closing, I'm gonna show you what Rovine Wells, the mother of Tyre Nichols, said outside at the press conference. And guys, pay attention. She also said, which I didn't record in this, that the prayers help. A lot of y'all that are heavy into praying and stuff like that, man, send her y'all prayers, man, because she really needs it. And she said it helped her. So you guys be proud of yourself that you sent her, God's blessings. I'm gonna play her, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna end this. Take care. Check it out.
Good afternoon, good morning. As I was sitting in that courtroom today, listening to the charges that was brought against that officer, and listening to the officer say all the things that he did to my son, that was very difficult to deal with. As I'm sitting there and I'm watching this Mr. Mills gentleman, and I'm looking at him, and I'm noticing how big he is. Like, really? This big man, he looks to be about 200 pounds, was beating up on my son. So just imagine 200 times 5. That's 1,000 pounds beating up on my son. This is one of many things that our family has to go through. This one today was very difficult for me because this was really the first time I actually heard somebody tell and say what they actually did to my son. So this was very difficult. But I'm hoping that Mr. Mills, it was his conscience that allowed him to make this plea agreement and not because of his lawyers telling him it was the right thing to do. I'm hoping his conscience is telling him the right thing to do instead of his attorneys. So with that being said, we still have more to do, and this was just one of many that I hope will come in our favor.
Rovon Wells, the mother of Tyre Nichols, speaking, and my heart goes out to her, and I'm sure your hearts go out to her as well, and keep her in our prayers. Guys, listen. In closing, I want to just say this. All of these officers are wrong. They are. But the way the justice system is, it picks people apart and it turns people against each other, and it tries to get the best advantage it can in winning the case, even if it has to sacrifice some time off of somebody else to make sure other people go to jail and get more time. A lot of us feel as though, justice wasn't served. But you got to remember, the idea of justice is circumstantial, and it's also individually based on the mindset of somebody that sees an atrocity. Things don't affect us until they affect us. The reason why I was so vested in this case is I've never seen officers like just go hard on somebody like that looks like them in this video, like when I first seen the video, and it struck me. And I mean, my sense of what should be done outside of it being triggered by watching the video and, coming down off of that and really dissecting this video and looking at it over 100 and something times, taking the emotion out of it, the law is going to be the law, whether we like it or not. We'll see what's coming up on Monday when these guys go to court. And I don't even think he'll be there or his attorney even be there because of the trial date. He had to find out when the trial date. Well, no, he might not be there because, he pled guilty, so it don't matter. He's not going to trial. So he might not be there. So we got one out. We got 4 more to go to see what's going to happen. But I'm guaranteeing you, they having sleepless nights now, knowing that one of the 5 then jumped ship. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Memphis, stand up. See you in the next video.